Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. So I'm going to talk this evening about Megyn Kelly and her blackface comments. A couple of days ago, she appears to have torpedoed her media career. Megyn Kelly, who's she, I hear you ask? Well, she's an American journalist. If memory serves, she's 48 years of age. And she grew up in New York State, if I got that right. She qualified as a lawyer and she had a perfectly blameless career until she was 30-something, decided she'd like to be a journalist, got into Fox News. And pretty soon her career, well, it had a meteoric rise. And soon she was Superwoman, according to Fox News, one of the main anchors. And the word on the street is that she's paid tens of millions of dollars per year. So she was there evangelizing for the Fox News gospel, which really is that I suppose there's such a thing as white privilege, that there's indeed anti-white discrimination. She put out this canal that Christians are discriminated against by the Obama administration. Bit of a warmonger. I mean, really no surprises there. It was more or less, if there was a Fox News credo, she believed in every article of faith. That obviously that tax cuts for the super rich were the right thing to do, and that third wave feminism was a disaster. And by the way, I don't disagree with her on everything she said up to now. Then she said that Santa was white. Kids, he just is white. She notoriously said a few years ago. Well, Santa Claus. The Santa story originates in what we now call Turkey, would then have been Greece, because remember, Asia Minor was Greek until the 15th century. Well, the very end of the 15th century, all of it became Turkish. So he would have been a olive-skinned Mediterranean type, that saint, a bit like Jesus, Levantine, would presumably have been quite swarthy. So anyway, but it doesn't actually matter to me what colour they are, whether they were completely black, as in could be from Uganda or something, or whether they were completely Oriental, as in could have been ethnically Chinese. It's a matter of indifference to me. So that they're not really white, but you can depict them how you like. So why would it mortally offend anybody if they were depicted as being non-white? It wouldn't upset me one bit. But Santa Claus, as we know, this sort of cultural figure in the Western world, is always shown being white. No reason he should change. But like the red costume only comes from the 1930s Coca-Cola ads. That's what I've heard. Some people say that's an urban myth. So she has previous on this issue, on appealing to white anxiety. White supremacy would probably be unfair, too strong a term. But seen as a bit of a superwoman by Fox News, doesn't come across as that clever for a front-rank journalist. She was grievously insulted by Trump, saying that she had blood coming out of her wherever, which when she asked him some worthwhile questions, she did her duty as a journalist to say, you've been grossly insulting to several women. Do you detest strong women? And obviously he does, because he couldn't take it. So her questions were not caused by menstruation, I don't think. Whether she's menstruating or not, I have no idea. I don't think it would have changed her behaviour. But it was a really sick and literally below-the-belt thing for him to say. But yet, his Christian fundamentalists stood behind him. We are oh so moral, we're clean living, we never use bad language, and yet we want a president who makes these scatological remarks and is so foully insulting of a lady. That's a true measure of the gentleman, is it? Anyway, so recently she was on her daytime chat show, and it's underperforming. And she would run up to Halloween, people dressing up in these costumes. She said when she was a child, wearing blackface was entirely acceptable so long as someone was impersonating a black character. So she's been hauled over the coals for it. Now, why do people find blackface so demeaning? Often white actors in the United States or elsewhere would go in blackface, as in darkening their face or changing their facial features with theatrical makeup to make it appear as though they were of the African race, and perform these skits, these sort of stage African acts, which were very demeaning to black people, trying to show them as having all sorts of negative characteristics. So that's not been performed on stage for decades. There was a black and white minstrel show in the United Kingdom, even in the 70s. Now, apparently some black people have appeared in blackface as well. Obviously, there's been whiteface, there's been White Chicks, that film which came out about 12 years ago, which doesn't bother me one bit. So, what do I think about blackface? Well, I've never appeared in black and white face myself. I don't intend to. Do I think it's such a terrible thing? Well, certainly some people feel very insulted by it. And if people feel very exercised about it, if they're mortally offended, there's no particularly good reason to do it. It would certainly be politique to refrain from doing it. It's at best insensitive. So you'll get a lot of pushback if you do this. Does that mean that it's wrong? I wouldn't say that I think that it is wrong. Obviously, I don't think it should be outlawed. I just think it's in a dubious taste. So I think the reaction has been too much. She's lost her media career. She's off the media. And is that political correctness? I suppose it is. But, let me be even-handed. There's right-wing political correctness, such as kneeling during the US national anthem is unacceptable, things like that. Or some of these Americans saying, the right-wingers, the Republicans saying, you must never criticize a military officer, or you mustn't insult the president if he's a Republican. Obviously, as a Democrat, let fly. So that's it. I suppose it's the new insensitivity. If you think that Megyn Kelly's remarks are rebarbative, what you ought to do is publish your video saying how you think what she said was disgusting and all the rest of it. Not to terminate her media career. I think in the public forum we need all sorts of opinions, including highly tendentious ones. And that's the hallmark of a free society. That controversial opinions that some find very insulting are still aired. So I suppose you're going to say she's creating a disharmonious atmosphere by saying that. That may be the case, but I think that's a price worth paying for having a free society.